So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Saturday conversation for the Avon Valley Churches, which is a group of 7 churches in the northwest corner of Hampshire on the edge of the New Forest. And I'm very pleased this morning to welcome to all of us Helen Tague, a person that I think you will all know a lot more about than me. So it's very lovely for me to be able to say to Helen, welcome, and thank you so much for being with me today.
Not at all.
Now, just a funny little aside, which we've just discovered, although this conversation will be going out on the 10th of July, today we're recording it on Helen's wedding anniversary, which is about 10 days beforehand. So before anything else, we have to say many, many congratulations to you. Is it Trevor?
Yes, it is.
To you and Trevor for 48 years?
48 years.
48 years. So it's a funny thing that we're recording it in advance and it's your wedding anniversary today. And I did say, I must just say this to everybody. I did say to Helen, what are you doing to celebrate? And she said, we're having a new bathroom suite fitted. So there we are. That's good. I haven't introduced myself. Some of you will have seen me in person, but some of you will perhaps not, or have seen me on Zoom. My name is Ruth Crosland. I'm a licensed lay minister, and I've recently joined the AVC benefice, and so far it's bringing me much joy. So it's lovely to see you all. So Helen, a strange thing happened to me. You don't know I'm going to do this, but I went to a coffee shop. It's called Aunt Fannys. And it's somewhere between, I don't know whether I told you I was going to do this, somewhere between Wimborne and Cranbourne. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those people that when you go and have a coffee, if there's local papers about and they're free, I pick them up, take them home and have a look at them. And funnily enough, I found this magazine called New Stour and Avon. And there you are in it. And as I got home, I thought, oh gosh, there's Helen, because we've not met in person, I don't think. We've only met on Zoom. And I thought, I must talk to her. So your reputation is spreading far and wide.
I did hear it was going to be in that magazine, yes.
Well, and it says the title is Award Given to Respected Community Member. Just before we talk about that, because that's a really special thing that I want us to talk about, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Are you a local Fordingbridge woman? Have you been there all your life, or have you come from somewhere else? What's a bit about your background, Helen?
Yes, well, yes, I am very much a Fordingbridge citizen. I was born at the Cottage Hospital in Bowerwood Road at the top of Bowerwood Hill, right. Which is now Highfield Hall.
Right.
And my family home, Brayside, was at the bottom of the hill. Okay. And many, many happy years there with my dear mum and dad, John and Sue Dobbs. Dobbs is quite a good local name in Fordingbridge, connected to the King family. Oh. You may know of King's Yard, where the Fordingbridge Museum is.
Not yet.
No, she said, not yet.
I say to lots of things, not yet.
No,
I should make a note to look that out.
It's sadly, of course, because of the pandemic, it's been closed. So, sure. But it's going to be open soon.
Yeah.
So, yes, I have a younger brother, Peter, who has now gone to live in Northern Ireland from Northumberland with his wife, who is from Northern Ireland. So I lived in the family home at Brayside and attended St. Mary's, attended Sunday school, and then was confirmed. And then in 1973, on the 30th of June, I married Trevor. In 1976, our daughter Rachel was born, and in 1979, our son Christopher.
Ah.
With them, we have a son, Jack, with Rachel and Scott, and 2 grandchildren up in Derbyshire with Chris and Claire, Sam and Isla.
Ah, lovely. So you and Trevor are still in Fordingbridge. Is Trevor a Fordingbridge man?
No, I call myself a Hampshire hog, and he's a Wiltshire moonraker.
Ah, right,
So Trevor was born in Redlinch, but lived a lot of his life in Alderholt.
right. Okay.
His father and mother lived in a railway cottage, which they're still standing in Ashford Road, near where the railway used to be. So Trevor's father mainly worked in the Salisbury.
All right.
Uh,
So
yeah.
just slightly over the border, isn't it, Redlinch?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is it
his
up
mother.
beyond Hale, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think when I've been up to Hale Church, I've taken the left turn rather than the right turn to see what's up the hill, and I think I've arrived at Redlinch somehow. There'll be
Yes.
lots of people now in the benefice saying, you got it wrong, Ruth, but hopefully not too wrong.
No, not too wrong. It's not
Not
that
too
far away.
wrong. So, yes,
Yes, he's
so Fordingbridge Citizen through and through.
through and through. And although I went to our parents decided that both my brother and I should go to private schools.
Right.
So we both went to a little one in Fordingbridge for a while till I was 8. And then I was sent on the bus to Ringwood and my brother to Salisbury.
All right.
I left that school. It was a boarding school, but I attended as a day pupil, had some lovely friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a year's secretarial course at Salisbury College.
Mm-hmm.
I still use my shorthand today.
I was
I
going
love
to
it.
say, are you a Pitman woman?
I am a Pitman woman.
I've met a few in my time, and you
Yes,
still use it. I think once it's in your head, it's
once it's in your
forever.
head.
Yeah.
Yes, and my mother and I, she also, she worked in Jackson's, the local solicitors, and she and I used to read each other's shorthand. So yeah, it's good. And then I went from there to work in a doctor's surgery for a short while in Harcourt Terrace in Salisbury as a shorthand typist. I was plucked from there, is the word, by the secretary of one of the plastic surgeons. She happened to be the wife of my, I have to say, cousin's godfather, in a
Right.
roundabout way.
Okay.
She knew that what I was working as, and she said, I want you to come and work in the plastic surgery unit at what we call Odstock Hospital.
Oh, yes.
And I started there as a shorthand typist and left in 1975 to have Rachel. So I'd had 9 wonderful years where I worked up to be personal secretary to Donald McNeill, the late Donald McNeill, plastic surgeon.
So in those days, you wouldn't have had a spell checker. So you had to
No.
learn a lot of very long, complicated
A
medical.
lot of long words, and there is medical shorthand. There is
Okay.
actually medical shorthand, and I did learn quite a bit of that, but
Right.
many a time it was in the actual word.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the long names for the medication as well.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed that?
Oh, I did, because the centre for the operations were in Salisbury, but we went all over the south to see the patients in their own hometowns.
Okay.
So travelled all over the south with the consultants and took notes on the patients.
I suppose, would that have been many people perhaps who'd been injured in conflicts or accidents or?
No, a lot of it could be cosmetic.
Right.
There is the well-known burns unit that Jim Lang, one of the consultants, founded, and so there were a lot of people like that. But yes, very varying things. But yes, really, really interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's something I didn't know about you, and
perhaps I thought
not everybody does.
Maybe not everybody else did either. I know one very lovely lady called Olive Baker knows.
Ah, right.
So if she watches this, she'll know what I mean.
Ah, okay. So then you had your children virtually.
Yes, that's right.
That was bringing up the family then, really.
Yes, I didn't have long with that. Trevor came in to help me because when Rachel was 3, I was approached to see if I would go and be minute secretary to the Fordingbridge Parish Council.
Oh, right.
This involved one evening a week only.
Oh, yeah, I've heard those stories.
Yes, yeah, one evening, a Wednesday evening. So Trevor was the one who looked after Rachel. And I went along, and then I would just go into the parish office, council office, to type up the minutes on what many people will remember are those skins that you then put into the Gestetner,
Oh,
the old turning. Yeah.
I've used those in my early days. I remember the Gestetner. Yeah,
What a lovely mess we could get into.
absolutely. And he sort of peeled things off. It was all very
That's
odd,
right.
wasn't it?
And I had that correcting fluid that had quite a strong smell.
It's probably not allowed these days, Helen.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not.
So
that was the beginning of what ended up being a 31-year career working for the council.
Right, for Fordingbridge Town Council.
Yes, it was the parish, and then in 2000 it became a town council. We were a town that had a town hall, and we had our first lady mayor.
Ah.
So yes, I was then town clerk. So
right.
Yes, sorry. So I went from being minute secretary to clerk in 1983.
Right, gosh.
Yeah.
So you've seen some very interesting developments in things like writing and technology and computers. Do you still, I know obviously we're on computer now, are you still enjoying the technology and the computers?
Yes, I am. I find it quite a challenge.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
You're a touch typist, I imagine.
Well, you might call it that. I ended up not using all my fingers, but I could manage. I managed to pass my exams.
Yeah, a bit faster than most of us.
Yes, maybe.
Yes, yeah, and you still enjoy it. You still.
I do. Yeah. I'm a glutton for punishment where committees are concerned.
There is something different about working with committees, isn't there, really?
Yes, I've tried to shed quite a few, as my friends will know, but yeah, once you're a secretary and you can do minutes, you're very much sought after.
Absolutely. Do you find yourself sometimes going to a meeting thinking, I'm not going to volunteer this time? I'm not sure you do, but perhaps.
No, it's that word that they say you've got to learn as no.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just talk a little bit about your award, because this is really very special. I didn't obviously know about these things, but there is such a thing as the Citizen of the Year Award presented by the Fordingbridge Rotary Club. Yeah.
Yes,
and
that's right.
You are this year's recipient.
Yes, I'm thrilled.
How did that come about? Did somebody ring you up, or did you get a letter or an email?
No, you have to be nominated by somebody.
Right.
And it's for the last 3 years. I think my very good friend Margaret Bailey, who you may have met, she reads in church and sights person. She has put me forward. She's always been a very good friend, and I think perhaps admired everything that I've managed to cram in to my days and weeks. So she put me forward. So
how lovely.
I was delighted to receive a letter saying that I've been chosen this year.
And is there a presentation event or?
Yes, that won't be till September because Rotary have been unable to meet.
Sure.
They have been doing their meetings on Zoom.
Yeah.
So I think they hope by September that they might be able to do the presentation.
Okay, well, there'll be a bit more publicity then.
Yes, there probably will.
And I read here also in this article that I found in this magazine that you're likely to be going on a twinning expedition when you can to France.
Yes, that's right. I've been connected with twinning for as long as I've worked for the council.
Right.
I was there as parish clerk when the twinning began. And then later on, I suppose one of my first voluntary things was to join the Twinning Association. And together with Carol Jackson, she was chairman and I was secretary for 8 years together. So Carol won't mind me saying that she might be a little on the disorganized side, and I was the one who kept her in check.
So you're a very good team.
We were a very good team.
Excellent. And how interesting twinning has become, because obviously in the first instance, the first I was aware of it was town twinning. And in Christchurch, years and years ago, we had the Games of Friendship with our twin towns, and lots of people came from Hungary and Germany, and it was all about town twinning. And I think we had 5 twin towns at the time in Christchurch. And now we hear about toilet twinning, which has been fairly new, but has been a good development. And now the latest thing is bin twinning.
The bin twinning, yes.
And then I'm desperate to work out if I have a goddaughter who is doing some work with beehives in Haiti. And I said to her, do you think we could twin a beehive with somebody? And she said, why not? So I'm hoping that we can, I don't know how it works, you know, but there must be a way that we
I'm
can
sure there's a way,
connect people, because it's all about connecting, isn't it?
It is, yes. Well, we've got groups, you know, now in the town, haven't we? The Fordingbridge Greener Living and, you know, people like that.
Yes. So you've done a lot of work on committees. You've done a lot of work with twinning. You've done all sorts of things, I imagine. What's the thing, would you say, that's given you the most pleasure in your voluntary capacity?
Oh, golly, that's a difficult one, because they've all...
Should have given you a notice, shouldn't I, about that?
Yeah, I think probably the very first thing I did in the early years when the children were small was a road safety club called Tufty. You may remember Tufty.
Yeah.
So I helped to run that at the Avonway Community Centre. So that was fun and lovely. I then went on and found that I volunteered as secretary first for the Sarah Kinsley Fund for Children with Special Needs.
Okay.
And I think that was so interesting and so rewarding. I went on to become chairman of that eventually.
Right.
And I think that's one of the memorable. But I think all the time with twinning and the council was a job, but it was all, I got so involved in the town and different things that it was a very, very happy time.
So does it take you an hour to pop out for a pint of milk? Because everybody says, hello, Helen, how are you? How are things?
It used to be like that, and the pandemic has made it a little difficult, but it's a real pleasure now. If I go out and I say perhaps to Trevor, well, I'll be back in half an hour, and it ends up being an hour and a half. So yes, I still see
I can imagine that's how it works. Helen, what do you do when you're not volunteering? What are your relaxation activities?
My relaxation. Well, I do yoga. I've done yoga for a number of years to help a lower back problem. And I had my first class back at the community centre yesterday. We've been doing it on Zoom, which I've really enjoyed. So I do yoga, and I like to love the garden. I'm a flower arranger. It's another one of my voluntary things.
Right. Yes, I think I knew that, because you do. I think I've seen you in someone's garage.
Yes, you have.
I remember now. It's coming back to me. Janet, isn't it? It's Ian's wife, Janet.
It's Ian's wife, Janet.
I think the two of you were arranging flowers at some point.
We were. Yes. We've also done a recording. We've done 2. The second one's still to be shown, but yes.
Right.
So yes, gardening and my flowers. I've done in recent years. I've taken up art classes, which I'm really, really enjoying, and did quite a lot of that over lockdown with
particular kinds of subjects and particular kind of paint.
No, well, in lockdown it was quite a lot of animals. I wished I'd had one to hand. I could have shown you my giraffe, which I'm particularly pleased with.
Next time, Helen.
Next time, yeah. So no, a mixture. I haven't quite mastered the art of flowers, which is one thing that I wish I could try and do a bit more, but no, everything really, landscape. And
well, Plenty to keep you busy then.
Yes, yes. And walking as much as I can too. Love that.
Do you live in Fordingbridge near the church, or which
No,
end
we
of the
live
town?
we live near Sandal Heath
Oh, right.
in Jubilee Road, so
Right.
we're closer than that.
That
So
end of the town.
yes, we've got a little bit of a walk to town, and coming back up the hill is a challenge. But
It's a challenge for all of us, isn't it?
yes.
Helen, I asked you beforehand whether you might share your favourite hymn with us, and also perhaps a prayer. I'd like to, I don't know whether you have the prayer to hand. But
I do, yes. I've like a good secretary, it's here.
Yes, you're organised. You told me the little story about the prayer, which I think is particularly interesting and lovely to hear. So maybe we'll just ask you, after we've talked about the hymn, to say the prayer as a kind of closing part to our conversation this morning. Is that all right?
Yes, that's lovely. Yeah.
No, lovely. So now your favourite hymn. We share this, don't we, I think?
We do, yes. I used to go to Evensong regularly with Trevor's mother.
Right.
That used to be her favourite service, and so I went along with her. And I think it's just such a calm, peaceful end to the day. And there was always Dear Lord and Father. That was one of the regular hymns. And I just love it. I know the words off by heart. And it's just, I think just everything about it. So some of the words I've got it to hand because I was looking at it last night and just thinking, got to get my glasses right. Forgive our foolish ways, reclothe us in your rightful mind. And the one which I think I love the drop thy still dews of quietness till all our striving cease. Take from our souls the strain and stress, and let our ordered lives confess the beauty of thy peace. Such lovely words in that hymn.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I remember when I had a very busy job working in the hospital team, those words often used to go through my mind as I'm walking down the corridors, trying to reclaim a bit of peace and tranquility in a very busy life. And so I think it's really lovely for that. What I'm going to do is to ask the person who puts together the filming eventually to find a copy of that hymn, and hopefully that'll be our closing at the end.
Oh yes, lovely.
Lovely. So what we'd like to do now then, perhaps, Helen, is if you would share a little story about this particular prayer that you're going to say for us.
Yes, of course. Yes. There are many prayers, of course, throughout my life that have been lovely. But when my mother died, which will be 7 years ago now, in her handbag, I found this prayer. It was written by her, it's in her handwriting, on the back of a leaflet, which I looked at recently, was for St. John's Passion at Rockbourne Church. And it's laminated, so I now keep it in my handbag. Lovely. So shall I read it to you?
I'd love you to. Thank you.
It's called I Said a Prayer. I said a prayer for you today, and know God must have heard. I felt the answer in my heart, although he spoke no word. I asked that he'd be near you at the start of each new day, to grant you health and blessings, and friends to share the way. I asked for happiness for you in all things great and small, but it was for his loving care I prayed the most of all.
Amen.
Amen.
Helen, it's been a joy and a delight to hear a bit about you, a bit more about you. I look forward to the time when we can actually say hello face to face.
Yes, so do I.
Thank you so much, and many congratulations. Pleasure. Congratulations on your anniversary. Congratulations on your award, and we look forward to hearing more about it. Thank you so
very
much.
much.
It's been
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.